This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Colorado man who was deaf and uses sign language to communicate said two Idaho Springs officers slammed him to the ground during an arrest despite his attempt to tell them that he could not understand their commands. The man, Brady Mystic, said he was wrongfully jailed for 4 months over the incident. He is suing the officers involved as well as the city of Idaho Springs. The suit filed this month in U.S. District Court says the incident began just after 7:30. Mystic was allegedly to have run a stop sign before he pulled into the parking lot of a laundromat. While unaware that police had followed him into the parking lot, Mystic got out of his vehicle and began walking toward the laundromat. As Mr. Mystic exited the vehicle and walked past a dumpster in between his vehicle and the police vehicle, he was blinded by police vehicle lights and a spotlight. He had no idea what was happening, what the police were doing, or if the officer's presence had anything to do with him. Well, Mystic, he stopped walking and used his hands in an attempt to communicate with the officers, according to the lawsuit. Mystic uses American Sign Language to communicate and is unable to read lips and can vocalize, but only a few words. He usually writes messages on a piece of paper to communicate with people who don't know how to sign. Lawsuit claims that without any warning or attempt to communicate, they grabbed him by the sweatshirt, threw him on the ground, causing his head to hit the concrete. And then again, he was jailed for 4 months. Because of all this, Mystic tried to communicate with the officers by saying no ears in an attempt to explain that he's deaf. It did not make a difference, according to the suit. The officer ignored his plea and then tased Mr. Mystic a second time, after tasing him once the time before. What happened when you follow directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Matt. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Yeah, so I'm a pipe layer for a profession at a local 292. I do a lot of work out in Seattle. And anyway, I had a new foreman. He didn't know much about pipe or underground work at all, but he was certain that he needed to guide the machine for me while I was down in the hole. And I kept telling him, no, back it out, back it out. There was an unmarked sewer main there, and he went ahead and told me to shut the F up and listen to him. And so I did, because he was the boss, and he ended up bringing the machine into the sewer main, busting it, and then filling up my trench up past my knees in live sewage.
And you were in it?
Yeah, I actually got toxic from it, so I got out of the hole and ended up, throwing up, multiple times, to where I ended up in the hospital on IV bags. And
How long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for pretty much, a day.
All right.
They had to give me, I had my hep shots, thankfully, or toxic is kind of a serious thing. You can die from it.
I was going to say, So what happens to your body? Do you start feeling dizzy? What's the symptoms?
Yeah, essentially, I threw up so many times that I dehydrated myself, and my job's already really physical, and I probably didn't drink enough water as it was, and then you get, your skin's porous, so whatever, touches it kind of absorbs into your system, and, sewage is kind of the last thing that you want.
It's the reason your body shoots it out of your butt. No questions asked, I don't want this.
So what was this? What did the supervisor say when this happened? Did he have a response? Did he say anything to you? Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
He did? Oh, he's got
the phone's breaking up, man.
All right. That sucks.
Well, dehydration's a massive deal.
Sure.
Right? I had a buddy, we were in our early, he was in his early 20s. I was probably 19. Then he got a bad flu, but he dehydrated, and he passed away from it.
But he died from it?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
He was that sick, but he was a guy. So, his buddy was with him, and he was like, I don't need to go to the hospital. It's fine. And like anything else, he wouldn't give it two thoughts.
Sure.
So the guy leaves him, this and that. And the next morning he from all the puking and everything, and he couldn't keep anything down. He ended up dehydrating and passed away.
Wow. How many cups of water does the doctor recommend you drink? Is it like 8-ounce glasses a day?
More than that, I think. I think it's 8, 12, or 16 ounces.
Because I'm thinking, as far as nutrition goes, now it's one thing when your doctor tells you things, right? Because they go, look, if you don't do this, you're going to have complications. That's one thing. But generally speaking, as we grow up, you're always told, how many servings of vegetables or fruits or how much
nobody
water.
does that, though.
Not a person I know does. Again, without the doctor saying, you will die if you don't do this. Like, nobody follows those directions. Even when I was a little kid, it always blew my mind. It took me a minute to figure out what a balanced breakfast was, right? Because even Captain Crunch, for God's sake, part of a balanced breakfast. And they should like toast and fruit and all. And I'm like, yeah, I just want the Captain Crunch. And I'm not eating all the rest of that.
It's weird, though. The older you get, the more you listen to your doctor.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because you're
getting closer to it.
You're legit scared of dying.
You start feeling different. In my 20s, man, you could be shot 8 times and jog a marathon the next day. Now it's like I get up in the morning like I can't move my arm. No reason why. So your doctor says stuff, you listen. But even then, it really depends what they're going to recommend. Obviously, like any good doctor, they tell me to stop smoking. Yeah. But until, and I just know this to be true of me, until medically you say, hey, you need to do this because now there's complications, chances are I'm going to smoke. You change your diet, eat more vegetables. Again, I know you're right, but you're not telling me this because medically something's gone wrong. You're saying it because you're a normal human being. But I'm not going to do that. But the day is going to come where it's like all I'm doing is eating salad and not smoking cigarettes, and I'm going to be real irritable.
Yeah.
What happened when you followed directions? What happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421.
Wasn't that like still right? Like you were saying, like your dad will still eat ice cream, but like your mom's out of town.
Right.
He's not supposed to, but it's like I'll risk it.
Do not eat nuts. Do not eat ice cream. Right. These are the as far as what he always consumed in his diet. Those are the things the doctor said. Look, man, you just got to pull back on it. And he's like, yeah, sure. And if my mom's there, he does. And my mother go out of town for 3 days. She's like, I always look in the trash can outside. They'll be like 4 gallons of vanilla ice cream and 3 cans of Planters peanuts gone. As soon as she's not there, it's like, I don't care.
My sister had absolutely just, as far as food goes, she would eat whatever she wanted.
Sure.
All the time. And she tried diets, she couldn't stick to them. Eventually, she went in and got the surgery. Now, you have to be really, really stringent on the diet and everything else afterward. And she stuck to it because she knew, like the doctor said, like, look, if you don't do this, you might die.
Right, that's all it takes.
So,
yeah. Right, that you should die. But when the doctor says, hey, at this point, since we've surgically done something to you, you might die, people listen. But then there's people, you didn't realize how many instructions you needed to give them for them to understand the point. And we used to work with this guy, Tom Welch, and he was probably 450 pounds. He was a big man. Big man. He had boobs on his back, and I'm not even joking when I say that. Like, he was that big. So at that time, Jared from Subway was just starting to hit big, and this is what I did, man. I ate these subs, and I walked every day. Well, Tom did not hear these are the subs that I got, and I also walked every day. They made that a point in the commercial. Like, Jared would say, I walked to the Subway, then I walked back, and obviously as time went on, I could walk farther and farther. Well, Tom, keep in mind, we worked 2.5 blocks away from the local Subway at this particular radio station. Tom would go to the parking garage, get in his car, drive to Subway, get 2 footlongs, come back, and we're looking at, there's no vegetables. They look like a footlong I would get. It's just oil and mayonnaise. There's no vegetables. It's just every meat. And for like 2 months, he's like, I'm not losing any weight. And finally, we're like, listen, bro, more goes into it than that. It's not about eating Subway. It's about cutting back on all the fat you're putting on your body and then exercising. You're not doing the 2 main things. He thought the magic bullet was, I ate a foot-long sub from Subway, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Look, that's not how that works, man.
No.
That is not, you do that, you eat a diuretic if you want to do that. That's not what they're saying.
Well, speaking of weight, the kid, the terrible story that happened in Florida, the 14-year-old who died.
Yeah.
He fell off the Tower of Terror.
Did you hear about this? 430-foot drop at Orlando's Icon Park. He fell right out of the seat. Basically, it's one of those that kind of steps down a little bit. So when it breaks,
it's like a tariff tower, right? It drops
exactly. And when it broke with the first time, he just went through the seat, and then fell whatever it is.
So you understand, like it drops, and then the magnet hit to slow it down, and when it slowed down, he kept going.
So apparently, this kid could not ride any of the rides in the park because he was 6'5", and weighed 340 pounds.
So every other ride he tried to get on that day, they were like, man, and he understood, just like you, it's not built for you, right?
So he weighed 340. The max on this one was 287, according to the manual. The document instructs operators to check that they fit within the controls of the seat and the bracket fits properly. It did lock down. Whatever was supposed to lock down properly. But he was too big for the ride. And that's what happened to the guy. It's going to be an issue of a lack of supervision, a lack of training. Straight up negligence case.
Yeah, I mean, right. Like that's on the guy conducting the ride.
And that's their point. They're just saying, like, look, man, and we understand who's conducting it. It's probably like a teenage kid, but all the other teenage kids that day just said, man, I can't let you on there. It's like, look, if you're not tall enough to ride the ride, it's like,
can't get on.
Maybe it sucks, but that's just how it is.
What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Ty. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
So I just left the bite of Tacoma. I had a car full of kids and headed home. I'm over in Fife, and I see a little old guy trying to get ready to cross in the crosswalk. I could have just act like I didn't see him, look the other way, and blew past him. But I'm like, you know what? I got kids with me. I'm going to go ahead and do the right thing. So I stopped, and he started kind of walking kind of feeble, real slow. He looked around behind me. His eyes were as big, like an owl, just huge eyes, looking at me like scared to death. And just a couple seconds later, I just feel this whack from behind me. Some lady high on meth rear ends me going about 50 miles an hour in a 25 zone, and I got whiplash out of it. So
with kids in the car?
With the kids in the car.
How are the kids?
The kids are fine. Yeah, I'm the only one that got any injury, but yeah.
Okay. But your car did not push into the child who was walking across the street, right?
It was an old guy.
Oh.
No.
No guy.
He kind of stepped back.
Hello.
Oh. What's going on with their phones?
I don't know.
Want to hear the rest of these stories?
I know, man.
But you can't. Not today.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the problem of being a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
Something else goes
And
wrong.
how do I identify meth that well? You know what I mean? How do I get out and go, oh, she's on meth?
I think sometimes you can tell.
Okay.
You can walk down the street to Seattle, and people are doing their own thing, and certain people you're like, that is unquestionably meth. Sometimes that is unquestionably crack.
I mean, that's got to be the main drug downtown, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I think downtown Seattle for sure.
Meth and heroin.
Okay.
Heroin, yeah, but heroin, they're
heroin's
not usually bugging.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a different attitude.
They're usually sitting.
You wouldn't know.
That's been most of my experience. Well, you can tell it's just they're not doing a whole lot of interaction. Where the meth head's like, you really want to have a conversation with me in 7-Eleven.
Yeah, the one woman who screams, and she screams down the corner, and it echoes through, 3 blocks, but she just screams at whatever. That's got to be meth, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah, she's meth.
Okay.
That's definitely meth. She has a lot of energy, man.
Oh, she does.
And a lot of anger and everything. Scooters. What did she do the other day? You can hear her screaming before you can see her, right? And we already know who it is. And sure enough, there's our buddy. And she's losing her mind. And it's one of those things where they're yelling. And then they feel the need to not stop yelling, but stop walking. And then they really raise their voice, right? Kind of letting everyone soak it in. And then they start walking again. And we realize that she's walking up to a bunch of those parked Lime scooters.
Then she pushes them all over.
We were like, she's going to knock them all over because she's mad. Sure enough, for no reason, I'm like, yeah, she is on it today, man.
Some of it too is just, especially people just haven't slept.
Right.
So you're already using a substance going to make you kind of lose your ass, and then when you haven't slept in days, there's some people in my neighborhood, I see them sometimes, and it's just weird. Like there's one guy with a giant stick. Just yelling at cars in the middle of the street. And then, he wasn't hitting the cars, but it looked very dangerous.
Like he's going to threaten them kind of thing.
Oh, he's threatening them, right? And he's a big dude. He's all shredded up, waving this stick. So as I'm walking by, I'm like, I gotta say, say something. What's up, brother? Hey, nothing, man. How you doing? I'm okay. All right. And then he went back to yelling at cars.
You okay,
he
man?
just snapped out of it.
So if you talk to him directly, he's all right. It's just,
yeah. I didn't stay to say, what's your beef with the cars? I was just like, all right.
Mm-hmm. What happened when you follow directions, or what happened when you do not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
It was like Office linebacker Terry Tate. Oh, hey, Janet.
Right. Everybody, hi.
Oh, I'm okay, man.
Hello, Alex. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Yeah, so me and my buddy, a couple years back, we were going down towards Bellingham, and I don't know the area very well, so I'm using my navigation on my phone. And it tells me to take a left at this one light. So what I do, I took the left. Next thing I know, about 2 seconds later, I got a police car behind me pulling me over. So I'm sitting there running through my head. What did I do? What happened? And I was doing the speed limit, used my turn signal, whatever. Well, he pulled me over, and that's when I realized I'm on a one-way road going the wrong direction.
Well, does he believe you when you say, hey, man, GPS told me to go this way?
Oh, yeah. No, I showed him my navigation, everything, and I still left there with a pretty hefty ticket.
Oh, you still got the ticket.
Bummer.
How much did it cost you to listen to your GPS?
About $600.
Oh, jeez, man. Do you still use the same GPS, or do you just look at a map before you go?
Oh, no, definitely got a new phone since then.
Okay, what app were you using at the time? Just curious.
Just Google Maps.
Google Maps. That's what I use now, and so far it's better than the Apple one.
Waze is pretty good.
I don't know, Ted. When I was talking about the Uber drivers and saying they're contractually using whatever, a bunch of Uber drivers chimed in, including Uber Eats, and said, yeah, dude, it's its own thing. We all hate it, but it is what it is. Not much we can do about it. If we know where we're going, we can ignore it. But if we're not quite sure, but one of them pointed out Waze. They said Waze is awful.
Really?
I've heard Waze, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know which one I use. I don't know which one is in the car. It's just whoever's talking to me. I feel like they all sound the same.
They do. You could change their voices.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen like the Australian accent and all that kind of thing. I want like Mr. T.
But the other problem is, like, I'm not an everyday...
Take a left, fool.
Right, so if I'm driving a car, like, I probably have no idea where... Like, I'm listening to GPS. So if I'm actually driving a car, Waze is just the one I like.
All right.
What happened when you followed directions? What happened when you didn't follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Ronnie. Welcome to the men's room.
Pursuing the pickle.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I got a shout out to my Twisted Tea Pitter group. This story relates to them. We were out on a DNR land, area, riding our pit bikes. Well, we've been out there for about 2 hours now, and we got lost. Couldn't find our way back. We saw tire marks on this gravel road that we were going down, so we decided to follow it. We turned down this one little trail that kind of led to this little, gravel pit. Got to the gravel pit. There's a car, multiple people outside. 2 of them were butt naked, making a midget porno. This is no joke. There were 2 midgets that were, and we tried to get out of there as soon as possible. Never questioned a thing.
So, I mean, they had the cameras out and everything.
Yep, had the cameras out and everything. The only reason why this has something to do with your guys' question is because my buddy said left, and I said right, and we went right, and that is,
But
That's
you know
what?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'd be happier to have followed your directions, because now at least I have a story.
Now, how hard was it for you to figure out how to get out of there? Because you want to turn around.
Or did you ask them?
Let them do your thing.
Hey, little man.
I mean,
little big man.
No, I think the gravel pit was in a lower I don't know. We were probably 50 feet above them, so we were looking down at the whole situation, the whole video that they got going on. And so we're watching it for a second. We're like, holy crap, this is actually happening to us and them.
Did they notice you guys were there?
They heard the bike. They were looking at us. They kept filming. He was still going at it.
Hey, time is money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you're movie making.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Did you ever search for this porn online?
No, actually, that's a good question. We should definitely look that up.
Yes. Oh, no. You have midgets in a gravel pit, man. I mean, like, to me, that kind of narrows... I hope that narrows the search. Anyways.
Ooh, Little Secrets 3? I saw that one.
Happened in the
by the way, guys, Waze... It says Waze is just Google Maps, but it has user feedback, so if there's like a cop or an accident.
Right.
I see. Okay.
What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK. KISW presents Roast to Steve Miggs. We are getting close to that bad boy. It's going to be a hell of a night. Snoqualmie Casino. We'll see you Friday, April 15th. Live on stage. Mm-hmm. We all get a little roasted. Everybody gets roasted at roast. You know? It's not just Steve Miggs. It's everybody up on stage. It's people in the audience. You never know who's going to get a shot in.
Yeah.
What are you going to say about Walter Jones?
Mm-hmm. What a decent human being.
God damn right. Yeah. Nicest man we've ever met.
That's right. Maybe make a joke about G.I. Jane.
There you go. Yeah.
Somebody's getting smacked.
You're bolder than G.I. Jane.
Actually, you know what? We should change the promo. The roast of Steve Miggs. Somebody get smacked.
Plus, we got live music from Glenn Cannon and The Damage Done. Those tickets are on sale now, KISW.com.
Oh, I didn't even think about making fun of Glenn yet.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
He wasn't on your radar yet?
No.
Oh, man, yeah.
Man who stole Kenny G's hair. What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Lane. Welcome to the men's
Get some
room.
butt jokes in.
Hello.
Hola.
So one time I was working at a Safeway up in Capitol Hill, and I worked a night shift. It was a very different city of Seattle at night. And I get off at about 2 o'clock, and I'm heading home. I'm driving down Martin Luther. It says to go 30. I'm going 30. And I swear to God, out of nowhere, a cop stops me. Came out of, like, ether. Pulls me over and says, you're going the speed limit. I have to pull you over and give you a ticket. I said, why? He says, because you're going 30. But you need to be going 25 past, like, a certain hour because you might hit a homeless man. So I was like, well, that's oddly specific.
Wow. That is.
It is.
Is that something you're supposed to know? I mean, if you said speed limit is 30, first of all, if I'm even doing the speed limit, good for me. I'm going, like, why would you know that after a certain time you're supposed to slow down so you don't hit someone who wanders in the middle of the street?
Sometimes it has, like, this internal, like, well, I gotta lower the speed limit by 5 or whatever.
So, did he give you a ticket?
No, because we sat there, we talked about it, and I'll be honest, I was not in the best of moods. I probably could have punched God at that point, but I just told him, quite frankly, if I was the homeless man and I was getting hit by a car, I'd want it to be going faster so that I would just die.
All right. Well,
and he said, fair enough, just don't make a problem for me to have to deal with later, and he sent me on my way.
That's such an odd thing. Like, in theory, we should slow down on 5 in case the occasional person who chooses to go running across. Wait, no. I mean, the rules are the rules. If you run out in the middle of the street, you might get hit by a car. That's why it's a bad idea to run out in the middle of the street.
Here's another thing if you have an older car you should be aware of, because I've kind of gotten almost burned on this a couple times, but the GPS in my car was put in 2016.
Right.
So the software in my car for the GPS is, it's a little bit older. Therefore, there was no tunnel downtown.
Yep.
So when you're driving, you're flying across streets, and which is kind of cool because you can kind of see where you are in proximity above you. But it's still telling you, make a left, make a right, make a left, make a right.
Yeah, because no tunnels.
Yeah, exactly. But they changed the speed limit in a lot of the residential areas probably within the last year or two. So everything got kicked down to 25 miles an hour. And a lot of the speed limits were lowered. Well, I look at the speed limit thing that's on my GPS, which is telling me the speed limit in 2016, not the speed limit in 2022. So I've got like 6 years I'm off, on the, so I have to look at a sign, and I'm not used to doing that because I got so conditioned.
I said they do put the signs on the side of the road.
They do, but they also have it on the GPS on the screen. So I always just look at the screen real quick to know what the speed limit is if I'm in an area, because instead of searching for a sign, if they don't have one right away, just look there. And half the time it's 35 is what mine says, but it's 25 when I go past the sign.
It's called a setup, man.
My phone dings. Like, if I'm driving and using the GPS on my phone and you go like 2 or 3 over, it starts dinging.
2 or 3 over?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have it set like that?
I use it so rarely. I don't speed much anyhow, so it's not a big deal, but it's like ding, ding.
Well, come on, man. Give me at least 10 miles an hour over. You know what I mean?
One more story from the question here, because this is a good one. This is a recipe that went online for Thanksgiving stuffing.
Okay. All right.
It says, and I guess this was a review on the recipe. This person tried it. They left a comment in the comments section about how they failed the recipe. Sorry, but I tried this. It was awful. It was dry. And the flavor, even if it wasn't dry, it was not good. A lot of the flavor issue could have been attributable to the sausage I chose. I did use an Italian sausage and didn't vary at all from the recipe. It was very disappointing. Hardly anyone, a group of about 17 tried it, and I ended up having to dump about 7/8 of the pan. I wanted to try to salvage, but I knew I was kidding myself about anyone ever wanting or eating the leftovers. Sorry, just being honest on the recipe. The person who put the recipe up for the Thanksgiving stuffing then notes below in comments, it calls for sage, not sausage.
Yeah.
The herb, not the meat. I don't know how much sausage you put in there.
I don't know.
I mean, sausage stuffing is a thing, but most stuffing should have sage.
That is correct. Hey, man, sometime when I was a kid, I thought I had outsmarted the recipe. I can't remember. I was making some kind of cake or something. But anyway, it said bake it 300 degrees for 20 minutes. And I'm like, how about I bake it at 600 degrees for 10? And in my mind, this is
the math works.
Yes, it'll take half the time. Why would people waste all this time waiting for that? It actually seemed insane to me, So that's what I did. But 600 degrees, man, I checked on in 10 minutes. It was, just black as gone. And I'm like, oh, now I kind of get it.
What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Diane. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello.
Hola.
So I was about 19 years old and went to the bar with my sisters. This was a long time ago when the drinking age in Detroit was 18. So it was St. Patrick's Day. We got drunk and going to drive home. And my sister and I just was really wasted. So she's like, well, just follow my tail light. And I'm like, okay. So get in the car, and I thought I was following her taillights, but I was following somebody else and ended up someplace I really didn't want to be.
Where did you end up?
Well, you know how everywhere you live, there's always neighborhoods where you really shouldn't be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, okay, so I ended up downtown Detroit, and...
Say no more.
I lived in downtown Detroit in the 70s. It was not bad.
Sure.
Then it was not bad. And you're probably drunk on Stroh's.
I was actually drinking mixed drinks. I don't even remember. It was St. Patrick's Day. Whatever they handed me, I drank it. So,
right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just kept thinking if I make 3 or 4 rights, I'll end up back where I was. I don't know what I was thinking, but in Michigan, the roads are like, if you get far enough, they're numbered like 2 mile, 3 mile, 4 mile, 5 mile, whatever. So I kept thinking, well, if I could hit 8 mile, I know I can get home because I knew how to get home from 8 mile. It took me about 3-4 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, I've been in a situation where a guy actually stepped in.
This is D.C.
In D.C. So I was
at the gas station.
Yeah, my daughter was.
There is one specific gas station in D.C. that inevitably you're not. It's not where you want to be.
I was in basically what you would consider to be northeast D.C. at Children's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I got turned around somehow. I don't know how I did this, but I ended up in southeast D.C. So I pulled into like a 7-Eleven gas station, and as soon as I pull up, and it's probably 3:30 in the morning because I was doing a morning show then. So I was sleeping at the hospital with my kid, but I was leaving to go to work, which was in Baltimore, and I'm just trying to get up there. And I pulled in because I didn't know where I was, and I was going to walk up and ask the guy for directions. And as soon as I parked the car on the window, I roll the window down. And I go, "Hey, man." So then he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm lost." And he goes, "All right, dude, you don't want to walk in that gas station." He said, "You don't want to get out of your car." And I was like, "What do you mean I don't want to get out of my car?" He's like, "You don't want to get out of your car, sir." And I was like, "All right, man." I was like, "Well, I got to get back. I got to find 50.
Right.
Got to help me find 50. And he goes, "All right, man, I'm going to save your life. Give me $20. And I was like, "All right, here's $20. It's like, go down here, make a left. You're right beside it, dude." He's like, "You're one block away."
Yeah. No, but if you don't know, Mike, in this particular, if you don't know, we might never see you again.
The roads, the way they work, they don't work really in a grid system there so much. It's kind of more of a pie system. So once you start going in a direction.
Sorta. Take a grid, but make it diagonal, right?
Yeah. It's kind of.
Everything
kind of
runs
wanky.
like northeast, south, right? So it's a grid, but they just turn it, so everything's kind of a diamond pattern because all things will lead, down to the ellipse and all this kind of thing. And that, but if you don't know this, it's real easy to get lost.
And a lot of things look very similar. There's just brownstones everywhere. Yeah, it looks like you're in the same neighborhood, whether it's good or bad. You don't know. You just keep driving. Everything's old.
Somebody here says, "I've been lost in Southeast DC before. Holy effing S." Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be there.
That's the one part of that beltway. If you look at a circle, that's where you don't want to be. If you go to the northwest part of it, it's like all the rich people. Mm-hmm. There's all these different sections. If you go to the middle, it's all the rich people who are politicians with money and all the people who have the old money. But anywhere from the perimeter, from about noon, coming all the way down to 6 on the east side, kind of like where you live.
Never, right. Yeah, you don't want to be over there. But, the part you were in Southeast, my parents are in their late 70s, and they were like, that was bad when we were kids.
It's always been bad. My parents met in D.C. and like say, I want to say my dad lived in that area-ish when my parents first met. My mom's like, yeah, we need to get a different place. Like, we're moving in together. We're doing it here. We're not doing it here.
And there's even bad parts of Chinatown down there where you don't want to get involved with anybody as well. There's a few sketchy areas. It's not just like
it's changed a bunch though once they put that arena in down there.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, for sure.
That's true.
But still,
what happened? It's not nearly as bad as frickin' Hamden.
Just remember this: if you're in D.C. and you're not at the White House, you do not want to be on Pennsylvania Avenue.
You know what? That is 100% correct. He's not getting.
Yeah, because once you get out of the area where the White House and everything is, now it's just taking you to Southeast.
What happened when you follow directions? What happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Mike, I know it sounds crazy, but that was always an easy way to remember. Like, if you're not at the White House, you probably shouldn't be on Pennsylvania Avenue.
That's my wife and I have a buddy who went there fairly recently for a business thing. So where should I go? So what I'm going to do is tell you where not to go. You know, like anywhere else, you'll figure out where you want to go when you're there. Good restaurants, whatever. So I'm just going to tell you where not to be. And if you don't go to this place, Southeast, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I told you, I had a friend back there, and I didn't realize he's in the Uber. And he asked me for a barbecue joint, so I gave him one. He said the Uber driver was like, just you? And he goes, yeah. And he turned around and went, no. Who else is coming with you?
What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Uber, looking out for you.
Looking out for me.
Yeah.
The driver, my car.
Hello, Jimmy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. So, I was born and raised in Chicago. I live in Everett now, and I was going back to visit my mom for her birthday. So, I was letting my dad know that I was coming. He was like, hey, dude, not a good idea. You know she's not a fan of being surprised. I was like, nah, it's for her birthday. She hasn't seen me in months, so I'm going to do it anyway. So, I get there, and our house is like a straight, narrow room, and their room is straight to the back, and my old room is to the left of it. So, I was pretty much up in there. I went in there, and she was still in the room. She comes out. I was like, happy birthday. And she's butt-ass naked. I saw it all, and I'm scarred for life now.
I saw it all.
Like, every time she sees me to this day, she kind of gives me this little grimace and look since that happened.
Look, man, stop making it awkward, you know? Like, don't give me the look. We know.
Exactly, right?
So have you ever surprised her again?
No, never.
And how old is your mom?
She just turned 65.
Okay, 65.
I thought about, she lives in Austin now. I went out there for her 65th birthday, thought about surprising her again, but like, not a good idea.
Yeah, don't do it, man.
It's kind of weird to think that your mom likes to be naked all the time, too.
I mean, I do too, so I guess I get it from her.
So was she just naked? Like, was she doing anything, or she just likes to roll naked?
I think she just got out the shower and she was in there drying off, and I guess, I don't know why she opened the door. I guess because she heard us come in. And so she was like, the hell was that? And then, boom, her son looking at her in a birthday suit. Unintended.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. I told you, I was back east for a wedding. Either way, I had like an extra hour. So I'm already driving back through my old neighborhood. So I said, I'll just pop in, knock on my dad's door. And it like takes him a couple minutes to answer. This is before like the bad stuff. But yeah, he answered and he is dripping sweat. I was like, oh, God, what were you doing? Because he's inside an air-conditioned house. Yeah, I was like, oh, Christ.
What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
How about we just walk to the back and I'll talk to you on the deck?
Yeah, that sounds almost worse, man.
Yeah.
Hello, Ronnie. Welcome to the men's room.
Grabbing titters and twisting pitters.
Hola.
We're down there, and we stopped at this little bar, and my buddy stopped by with his truck. He's got 2 taillights out, so it was pretty easy to follow him home, and it was the afternoon, I don't know, like 5, 6 o'clock, so the sun was setting. So we're driving down the road, following him home, because we had a few drinks, and we're on the side of the road, kind of going slow. Well, he thought it would be funny to take off. And there's quite a bit of cars that were still out, so we're trying to catch up to him, and anyway, he takes a right down this road that we had no idea about, and so we're following, and there was a truck that had one taillight out, and I don't know, we just assumed that it was 10 miles.
Easy, come on.
Hang on, Ronnie.
Once again, bedroom callers, here are the 7 words you can't say on the radio. Sucker, mother, and please keep those words in mind when calling. Now, back to the program.
Ronnie, please, continue.
Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, we're running down the road, and well, we couldn't find him, so we're following this truck, and I don't know, it's about 10 miles down the road, and we're getting low on gas because we've been riding all day. And the truck finally pulls over, so we just roll up next to him. We're still pretty buzzed up. We're all, what's going on? Well, come to find out, it was a hooker. She was scared for her life. She was telling us that she thought we were going to kill her, and we were chasing her down.
Did she manage to give you, like, nah,
How did
man?
did she say, I'm a hooker? And I thought, how did you identify this? You know what I mean? Like, that's not normally the first thing that comes out of somebody's mouth. So how did you know this?
Well, it was my first time in Nevada with my friend, and we just knew that there were hookers everywhere. Like, we saw them all around the intersections, and just believe me, it was a hooker.
All right. Okay. all right. I trust your judgment. I'm just
I would take your word on that.
I'm a doctor. I'm a hooker. What?
You ever have everybody in Vegas who think, man, all these chicks keep hitting on me? We're like, man, listen, they're working girls. Like, no, man. She sat down next to me like, oh, my God, dude.
You have a red beard and a black woman who is beautiful is hitting on you.
Right.
Do you really think that this is possible in real life?
My very first time in Vegas with you guys, we were walking through the hotel, going to our room, and I'm feeling froggy, so I go up to Ted's like, Ted, there's a lot of talent walking around this casino. He's like, yeah, they're paid to be here, Mike. I was like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. There were some stunners.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
There were, a lot of good look. Vegas does it right.
The one guy had two, but he messed it up somehow. I cannot remember.
I can't remember if he came over to me and Ted and started talking, or if the two chicks, he was like, either way, he had a slam dunk, right? Now, he was hammered, but the problem is, in the time that Ted and I, because we're just chilling with these chicks, right? Just talking about whatever.
Right, and we had shown up later, so it's later in the night, but we're still kind of amping up.
And he's starting to fade out, and by the end of maybe 20, 30-minute conversation, because we're making them laugh, we're having a good time. We know what they do. We don't care. But they got their mark, right? And this guy's buttoned up like a Mormon on missionary kind of thing, right? Just that kind of dude. And you could tell he was real excited about what his night was going to be. Mm-hmm. Two hot chicks, man. And we realized as we're talking, like, he's getting quieter and quieter.
Does he know? That's what I kept thinking to myself. Does he know?
I think he knows.
Does he just think he's pulling like random, women?
I think he was about to be fleeced. I don't know. He did not strike me as a man who had a lot of experience outside of wherever it was he was from, which is fine, but he basically passed out at the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, oh, man, he just missed his shot. He has no idea. And the two chicks got up and left.
What happened when you followed directions, or what happened when you did not follow directions? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Cody. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, so I was about 15, 16 years old. I came home from hanging out with some of my friends. I was a little stoned. And I go in the kitchen, and my mom, she's in there getting dinner ready. And she tells me, hey, we have like this pizza stone thing that was in our oven.
Yeah.
It was always in the oven. It's always in the oven for some reason. There's nowhere else to put it. And she asked me if I could grab it out for her because she's got to put something in there. So in the oven.
Hello.
I feel the heat wave shoot out of it. Hello?
Okay, yeah, we got you.
All right, so I opened the oven, and apparently I didn't feel the heat wave shoot out and hit me in the face. I just ignored it, reached right in there, and grabbed it with both of my bare hands.
Oh!
And I went to pull it out, screamed, like, dropped it on the floor. It broke. I'm sitting there with two burns on each of my hands, just going straight through my hands. It was terrible. I ended up going to sleep that night holding two ice packs and could barely use my hands for quite a while after that.
I've never had much success with those stones for pizza.
The pizza stone?
Yeah.
I thought it was great. But my sister-in-law sold all that Pampered Chef stuff.
Oh, yeah. The stuff was actually the few things that I got.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't need it, but I'm kind of glad I have it.
Ryan Castle on the way. We will sit and spin. Today we've got the 10 worst rock cover songs known to humanity. You are listening to The Men's Room.